Thank you. Okay, wow, hi. Let's just take a deep breath and be just blessed to be in this moment together. We're here together to enjoy this. So blessed. So I love being with you. I love coming here on Sundays and seeing your faces. I love being in your presence. And what I'd like to talk about today is oneness. And this is a crucial teaching. Oneness. What does it mean to be one with what? With who? I'd like to give you a visual because I grew up with television and I am a very visual person. So if you give me a concept, I've got to see it for me to understand it. So those of you who are with my generation, you know what I'm talking about. So what I visualize when I want to teach oneness is the circle. And when I went to Australia in April, and I went with an Aboriginal tour, and they took me into the bush, they talked about how the circle is very sacred. Not only one circle, but circles within circles, because it represents a vibration of love. And I did not understand that until I went deeper into the Bible, deeper into Hinduism, and deeper into the Kabbalah, and all of those things, because they explain about this, and I'd like to share it with you. The middle circle is our connection with God. That is center. That is essential. That is what we were created to be, is God in that circle. What are you talking about, Karmen? Well, we were created in love. We were created with the light. So God, the Creator, created us in His image. This is in the Bible. That is that one circle. That we have all of the attributes of God within us. That circle is complete. It's not a half circle. We are complete and whole as we are. We are the circle, and inside of that circle is us and God. Nothing else. We put other things in that circle when we are traumatized, when we come into this world and we don't know who we are. We think we're just this. And the world defines us, and defines us in ways that don't tell us that we're God, right? That God is within us, right? And so we get mixed up, and we think that we're not as whole as we are, and not as powerful as we are. Rumi said, if we really knew who we are, we'd bow down at our own feet. We don't know. We let situations define us, and we think we're weak, right? Oh, we can't handle that. Oh, that's too much over my head. What? You're a complete circle. God is within you. All things are possible with God. You've heard that before, right? So when you stand in front of a situation and you say, oh, that's too big, oh, I can't. You forgot who you are. So inside of that circle is the divine, and the divine gave you every attribute that is within the divine that you can use at any moment in any situation for anything. So that is a powerful circle. Never forget that. It is not blasphemy to say that you have the power of God within you. You were taught that maybe in other religions to keep you small. But the truth is you are a whole and complete circle within yourself, because within you is everything. Now what's outside of that circle? Outside of that circle is your vibration. So when you know who you are, you vibrate out power. You vibrate out love. What you were saying in that first song is love is the source. Love is the power. God is my source. God is the power. What you're describing there is what the Aboriginals will say is that is the circle. the unbreakable circle that is who you are. It is all within you. Do you understand? So now when you see a circle, you won't see the same thing. Okay? It's the most powerful thing. It's never ending. It is the infinite. That is who you are. Unbreakable. So when you go outside of that circle, that is your circle of influence. That is your family. So when Jesus said the best thing that you can do, or the most honorable thing you can do, is lay down your life for your friend, he wasn't talking about killing yourself. He was talking about getting rid of all the things that you believe that you are not. Why? Because that helps your circle. You're vibrating out that love and power for your friend to see what that looks like. It awakens in them a knowing of who they are. You don't have to teach them. You don't have to say, look, you need to know what the Bible says in chapter 12, because that talks about love. No, you don't do that. What you do is your life is vibrating out who you are, that entity within you, and your friend can't help but feel that vibration. You are saving your friend by laying down your ego, your fears, your insecurities, your false self, and taking on who you truly are, and it'll show up in your actions, it'll show up in the words that you speak, it'll show up in your smile, it will show up on how you show up at work, it will show up everywhere, and you're saving your friend. You are saving your son. You are saving your daughter. Not with a lecture, but with knowing who you truly are. So that is the middle circle, is so important. What you vibrate out, that is equally important, because that's how the world changes. And as your circle increases, as you go to Walmart and you're talking to the cashier, that is your other circle. And you've heard this saying before, I know, that a boss yells at the employee. The employee goes home and yells at his wife. The wife yells at the kids. The kids yell at the dog, and the dog chases the cat. So this fear and anger is contagious. We see it in our world. We see it now. We don't even have to turn it on the news. We can feel it, right? So it has its own vibration. But do you know that love is stronger? Love is stronger, not weaker. But we don't know who we are. We've forgotten. We weren't told. So do you see how important it is to vibrate out? But first, it starts with who? It starts with us. We can't negate it to somebody else. This is our work. This is our connection. But it goes beyond words. It may spark with a book, but it's actually us implementing all of the things that are in the mind of God. So it's not just going to hear a lecture. It's not just reading a book and saying, oh, that was a good book. How are you implementing those things? How are your thoughts being changed to that circle? Are these the thoughts of God? Is what you ask yourself. Well, no, because that was full of anger, and I know that what we're singing about doesn't have anything to do with anger. If it was, wouldn't we be singing something like, spit in their face, knock them on the ground, that's what God would do. I mean, wouldn't we be singing that? No, we're singing about love. So how are our thoughts reflected in that song when we're pissed off? Not when we're joyful. Oh, I can be a saint when I'm joyful. Wouldn't you? I can be a saint in a cage or in a cave somewhere. You know, have you heard of those sages that stay like 50 years in a cave? I'm like, yeah, I could do pretty good in a cave. You know, but let me go to the Verizon store and they have my bill wrong. That's when you have to say to yourself, wait a minute, am I still in that flow of thought. If not, then it's showing me what my work is, where I need to come up higher. Doesn't mean you beat yourself up and feel guilty. It just means thanks for the correction. Now I see. That's where my trigger is. This is how the universe works. This is how correction works. What's really joyful for me is that when you're aware, you can see where your triggers are, and you are shown where they are, and you can work on them, and you can come up higher next time. That's what makes me smile. You're not thrown away. You're cocooned in love. There's another thing that the Aboriginals do. They have a lot of artwork, and you'll notice that there are dots all around it. What they're trying to depict is something that we can't see, but you can feel, and that is the love vibration. Have you ever walked into a room or near a person and you have felt love? And I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about unconditional love. I love you when you're yelling at me. I love you when you just had some heroin. I love you no matter what happens. I love you. That's agape love. This is the love that created us. This is the love that is in our DNA. Now, if we grow up with a judgmental parent or a critical society, we can think that we've lost it. We haven't lost it. It goes dormant, and it's just waiting for that spark of love that is unconditional to awaken it. So children are born with it. It's just unconditional. I love you. You're a bum on the street. I want to play with you. I mean, there's no judgment. There's just love. There's acceptance. And then over the years, in this culture, in this society, it goes dormant, and we need to awaken it. How it wakens is something that is in the air. So this is not empty space right here. In other cultures, they call it chi. You move the chi around. You can't see it. It just looks like it's invisible. But the Native Americans know that Great Spirit is everywhere, even in the empty space. So I want you to know that there's a vibration of love, and the perfect conduit is air. So even though you and I'm right here and you're right there, I can send love your way. Even if you're in Australia, I can send love your way, and other people call it prayers. What do? You're sending up a vibration to another individual, but that other individual may look different, but you're actually awakening and sending a message to that spirit within them that is also within you. Did I lose anybody here? Go back to that circle. That circle is you and God. You vibrate out this love to everyone, because why? Everyone else is in that circle too. Everyone else has God in them. The delusion is that we look different. Isn't that a brilliant delusion, by the way? It's brilliant. Because we really have to go within to see from without. If I just use my regular eyes, I can see you have on pink, you look different, all of that. If I see through my spiritual eyes, remember, go within, God is within, I see God there. I see God there. I see God there. That is the circle. That's powerful. This is what changes the world. So, how does it change? You're vibrating out your vision of seeing the world, all loving, all God. That changes the world. It can't help but change another person. When you see them as God, what happens? It awakens that dormant love within them. This is what Jesus did. This is what Buddha did. This is what Krishna did. This is what we can all do. When we put on our judgments, I don't like you for this. Well, if they get clean and sober, they can come around, but I don't want to see them until then. What does that do? You're telling them, you're telegraphing to them in that vibratory space, what? You're not good enough. You're not worthy of love until you do what I want you to do. Isn't that how people are? But is that how God is? Okay, here's another song we could sing. You do what I say, 'cause I don't like you anyway. We could sing that song, but we don't. But then we go through our lives acting like that. And then we come here and sing that song. Then we go home and act a different way. See somebody in the street, have a thought. I don't like you, you don't look good. Right? So we need to come up higher, right? Love, unconditional love. That is who we are. We vibrate it out into another circle. We change people's lives because they begin to wake up within themselves that love, and then they touch other people. And then they touch other people. The world doesn't change based on a president, based on a policy. Don't delude yourself. That's another delusion. We know how the world gets better. It gets better by knowing who you are, and it vibrates out to your circle. What you also recognize is that you are a part of everything. Native Americans, Aboriginals knew this. The tree was part of them, part of the Great Spirit. And then people that were not of that culture said, those people are crazy. They think that that blade of grass over there is sacred. And that buffalo over there, that thing with all the hair on it, they're like praying to that thing. They must be crazy. Right before they slaughter it, they're saying thank you for it. They knew, and they know, and we know in metaphysics and in science of mind that everything is connected. You can't separate God from anything. And when people do that, they do not know who they are. They've forgotten about the sacred circle, the sacred oneness. You are one with God. And guess what? Everybody is, everything is, because guess where it came from? It's all source. It all came from the source. So never look at a circle again. Remember that when you vibrate out, you change the world. Don't worry about if somebody else is changing. Your connection with other people has nothing to do with their personality. Guess what? It's only between you and who? And God. It's the circle. Here's one of my songs that my sister was in The Color Purple. I think I mentioned it the first time I was here. She originated one of the roles of Broadway in 2005. And before then, she traveled around the world doing the workshop for The Color Purple before it even had any backers. So one of my favorite songs from the show is the lead song about The Color Purple. And it actually talks about how we're all connected in a beautiful way. It's based on the story by Alice Walker. And if you don't know the story of The Color Purple, it's basically about a girl that was traumatized in every kind of way that you can imagine. And then she realizes in her healing who she is. She is God. She is connected to everything. And it gave her the power to rise from victimhood to be a victor in her own life. So this is one of the lead songs. Listen to the words.
Dear God, dear stars, dear trees, dear sky, dear people, dear everything, dear God. inside me and everyone else that was or ever will be. I came into this world with God, and when I finally looked inside, I found it just as close as my breath is to me, just as close as my breath is to me. Rising like the sun, it's the hope that sets us free. Makes my heart beat when we share love, like a plate of corn, like a honey bee, like a waterfall, all a part of me, like the color purple. Where do we come from? I don't think I feel old at all. I think this is the youngest us ever felt.
So you can imagine being in a show like that, so that every night, even on matinees, you get to hear that God is inside me and everyone else. From the honeybee to the blade of grass to corn. I mean, it's inside of everything. Everything. And we forget that. Especially that God is within us. No situation, no person, no event is bigger than what is inside of you. I'd like to share with you what Ernest Holmes talks about when he talks about oneness. I'm reading from Living the Science of Mind. And in this chapter, it talks about direct contact with the infinite. When we know that there is but one spirit in the entire universe, we shall know that there is but one source for all forms. For all forms. This is where we get hung up. For all forms. Whether we agree with somebody or not, that's God. Whether they're blowing people up in a stadium, that's God. That person is God. The action is coming from fear, and he did not give us a spirit of fear. But that person is God in all forms. There's only one love. We get it twisted when we think that there are several entities out there. Love is all there is. It emanates from us, the God within us. And when we have trouble looking at that part, that's just showing us what we can come up higher in. It's just what they call a correction, which I'm grateful for. We shall know that every form is some manifestation of this source. When we have found that this source is also centered in us, we shall know that we can come directly to it, and discerning that its spiritual nature is love and truth and beauty, and particularly that it is responsive, we shall make known our requests with thanksgiving, with complete and mental abandonment. What does that mean? That means that within us is the source of love and truth. We come from this source. We don't come from victimization because we're not victims. We say thank you for a wonderful world that you created. Thank you for the peace and blessings that I have. Those are affirmative prayers. That's what we believe at the Center for Spiritual Living is affirmation of what we know to be true. We know that love is all there is, and we bring it forth through manifestation based on our thoughts, and then we step into it. We are creating that reality. Is that understood? That is so important, because when people around us are afraid, we are light workers. We are God incarnate. We are God in flesh. We stand in the middle of fear, and we are not afraid. Do you understand? This is very important for our times. And I'm so glad that you're here to hear it and to take it in, because we are called for an action. And that is to not be afraid and to stand in love and in power. They go together. That is why the Aboriginals put dots all over everything, because they could see there's love and there's power, and it vibrates out from the art project or whatever they were doing. It emanates out. It is the chi. It is the healing energy that we all have access to, and the world needs it right now. I have friends that go to Marianne Williamson, they go to Deepak Chopra, they do this, they do that, but they haven't incorporated their identity with the God source. I think it's wonderful that you go hear a lecture or two. But we need you now. We need you now. We need you now. And many of you feel that. What I'd like to talk to you about right now is an experience that I had just recently in the last couple of days. I went to San Ramon, California, which is near Oakland, to an ashram. I went to see Amma. And those of you who are not familiar with Amma, Amma means mother in India, in Hindi. And she's from India. And she does a world tour. And she's been doing a 30-year world, coming to the United States for 30 years. And you may know her by her other name. They call her the Hugging Saint. And so she hugs people all over the world. And to date, she's hugged 45 million people over about 40 years. She started when she was a child. She's 63 now. And so I didn't know what to expect. I had just heard about her. I felt like I'd been under a rock, because many people have heard about. So I went, and you get a token in the very beginning of the day. It's just a little card with an alphabet and a number on it, and it tells you where you're going to be in line to get your hug. So I go to San Ramon, and I thought it was going to be a retreat with maybe 200 people. 10,000 people showed up, and I was just floored. Everywhere I looked, there were people. And I said, what is going on here? And I was curious. I was on an adventure. So I got to tell you the first spooky thing that happened to me. The first spooky thing was I ordered a rental car from Enterprise, an economy car. It's just me in a bag. I show up to Enterprise. They say we don't have an economy car. All we have is an 8-passenger van. I said, what do you mean? I don't have $200 a day to spend. They said, no, it's $25 a day, same as the economy car. It's an 8-passenger van. I said, well, it's just me and my bag, okay? I get to the ashram, and what do they say? There's a big sign that says, we need vans for transport. So I did a seva, which is selfless service. When you're full of love, you want to do service to others. So that's part of her ministry. So I was picking up people from the BART station. I was taking them to the Marriott. I was transporting for 2 hours a day. And I was being used in a mighty way, and I had no clue. It was just God and me. Had no clue that that was the agenda, but it was. What tickles me is that in the Bible, there's a lot of stuff like that. Like Jesus will say, yeah, John, go down, there's a donkey like about a couple of miles down the road, and they're going to take me in for Palm Sunday. So I'm going, what the heck? What is donkey? Where? You know, and he goes down, sure enough, there's a donkey. So I had an 8-passenger van. And I was just enjoying the ride that weekend. So the first time that I went in the temple, where Amma was on stage hugging people, I felt something when I walked into the temple. So there was music, there was drums, there was chanting, there was her on the stage, but as soon as I walked in, I felt an energy of, first of all, let me just say that I had the dry heaves. Like I felt like I wanted to do the ugly cry, you know, but I wasn't doing the ugly cry. I was just like crying from my stomach. I was like, so there was a love energy that was unconditional, that was I love you no matter what. I don't care what you've done. I don't care about your behavior. I love you. I love you. Mwah, 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 mwah. I felt that, and I wasn't even hugged. I was just walking into this place with thousands of people, and she's up on stage, but there was an energy that these Aboriginals talk about, that the Native Americans talk about, that in Asian cultures they cultivate in their morning ritual, tapping into that chi, getting more relaxed with Tai Chi. This is what I'm experiencing at this retreat, and that was Amma. And not only Amma, but remember what I said, it vibrates out. So all those people, all those thousands of people were vibrating out too, and you could feel it. And that is the energy that's going to change this world. And it was awesome. What I'd like for you to know is that you have that too. You may not have thousands of followers. I certainly don't. But let me tell you, now when I go into the Verizon store and my bill is wrong, I got this one. I got this. You know, I want people, when I leave, to say, oh, she was pretty nice. I want them to feel so. They may not even be able to put their finger on it. They won't be able to verbalize it. But I want them to feel something different. Or something different. Before we go into a meditation, I'd like to play this one video. And it's basically, if you'd like to know more about Amma, you can certainly Google her. She has so many videos of her hugging thousands of people. In India, she has sat for over 20 hours without going to the bathroom, without stretching and just hugging everybody there. The reason she hugs people is to awaken what is dormant within them. That light, that love, that unconditional agape that is God within them. Once it's awakened, it vibrates out to other people. So she knows that if she's hugging 45 million people and awakening that in them, that they will pass it on to their son and to their Walmart cashier and whoever they come into contact with. She knows that that is how you change the world, by opening up that which is already within us.
Retoño mío, esta es la bendición de tu madre. Nunca olvides a Dios, ni un momento, adorando por siempre al Señor del universo. Oh my child, this is your mother's blessing. May you never forget God, even for a moment. Worshipping forever the Lord of the universe. Retoño mío, esta es la bendición de tu madre. Recordando a Dios, todos los errores son purificados y todos nuestros ancestros son acogidos y salvados. Siempre canta el nombre de Dios, Hare Hare. Dios está en tu interior. Dios es infinito. Que el verdadero Gurú te sea amable. Que ames estar en compañía de santos. Que tu prenda de vestir sea la protección de Dios, que tu sustento sea el canto de la alabanza de Dios. Bebe el néctar del nombre de Dios y vive una larga.
One of the things that she does after you have your hug is she gives you a gift. So when I got my hug, I opened my hand and there was a Hershey's kiss, and a Hershey's kiss, and a rose petal, representing the sweetness and the beauty that is God. That is all within us. How could you not smile when you know what is inside of you? That you have access to that. And when you awaken, your family has access to it. How do you save someone's life? By changing your own. How do you change the world? By recognizing and living